The Valley is at the heart of a national opioid epidemic. This is a WZDX News special report. Opioids, a Valley addiction. Sponsored in part by Luminous Counseling and Huntsville Recovery.
Hello and welcome to tonight's special report, Opioids, a Valley Addiction. I'm Jen Jacobson.
And I'm Chase Gallimore. Tonight we are taking a closer look at opioids and the deadly impact right here in the Tennessee Valley. The powerful drug isn't stealing hopes and dreams, it is stealing lives. It happens to those you least expect.
Anthony Rapiri graduated from Huntsville High with big hopes and dreams, but everything changed one small step at a time.
Anthony Rapiri had everything going for him. He was popular, loved, and admired by many.
He had a wonderful heart. He loved people.
It was never about him, it was about others.
Anthony loved sports, but it was more about being with people than playing the sport.
And it's quite a remarkable thing to have the number of friends that he had.
Anthony loved people, and he wanted people around him to be happy. And he didn't look down at anybody. And it could have been, you know, the poorest kid on the block or the richest kid on the block. He treated them all the same.
Anthony had plans to be a nurse, get married, and have a family. But that all changed with a few wrong turns. Anthony's first taste of pills was at age 15. Doctors prescribed him Vyvanse for ADD.
He was more focused, and he lost weight during that time, and it was just something that he liked.
Annie says his birth mother took drugs, so Anthony was inclined to get addicted. Like most of his peers, Anthony drank alcohol and smoked marijuana, an often overlooked gateway drug according to mom and dad.
You know, he's smoking marijuana, and we knew, and that's going to open the door for something stronger.
Annie and Ernie believe dealers use marijuana as bait for money motivation.
It does lead to stronger drugs,
and
we are living proof of that. We saw that.
Anthony started to be reclusive and quiet, a 180 from his typical outgoing and social personality.
He was just so ashamed. You know, he knew what he was doing wasn't what we wanted.
It wasn't until Anthony went to rehab did his parents realize the intensity of his drug addiction.
He didn't really get into the hard opiates until he came back from OMA.
The hardest part, he was so close to recovery. During rehab, he prayed and finally felt hope.
He said, "Mom, at that moment, I just felt free." He said, "The burden just lifted off of me." He said, "I felt so good." And he said, "I never had any more pain. I never had any more withdrawals. I didn't feel that I needed to take any more drugs." He said, "Christ just took that away from me."
Anthony later ran into an old friend and fell into his old ways. His father says guilt, shame, and low self-esteem took over.
Never think in God's eyes that you're second best. You got to reach to Christ. God doesn't condemn people who are sick.
Anthony eventually died from a heroin overdose. He was just 25.
He was a rare gift, and these drugs take the best.
The Rapiris want the community to be open, not ashamed.
We probably made mistakes. We didn't make the mistake of not loving him because we loved him. But love's not enough. You've got to know, and you've got to get help.
They want parents to talk to other parents and not to make the fatal mistake of thinking it won't happen to you.
I could not make it without Christ in my life right now. That's
where the faith comes in. Instead of me feeling excruciating pain, I feel comfort.
The Rapiris say the only answer is faith.
Really have a deep walk with Christ and the Holy Spirit. Get there, because it will make the difference.
It has made such a difference.
Until they meet again, they're on a mission to help others so they won't feel the pain of losing a child to drugs.
We just miss him tremendously, so much.
115 people die each and every day from this epidemic. So how do we stop it?
Experts say one way is through education. So what are local schools doing and how has the crisis impacted them? Renata DiGregorio investigates.
What have you guys done in school to learn about drugs?
We haven't really done much in counseling. That's the only place that we really
learn about drugs.
Jalen Nicholas and Peyton Joyner learned about drugs when Jalen's mother, Kristen, died from a fentanyl overdose at the age of 27.
It does surprise me that because it's become such an epidemic that they don't do more at school.
Jalen and Peyton are in the 5th grade, which in many schools is where the drug education starts, with a class in the anti-drug campaign Red Ribbon Week. The piece one substance abuse expert believes is missing: teaching consequences.
I teach a class here, and kind of one of my soapbox pieces is the fact that I think we don't do that in schools enough, and that's not to blame schools. I have a whiteboard, and I just take, everybody will start firing away, and we'll put them up there, and it really becomes very obvious when we get done with that just all the different elements of our life that can be affected.
Darren Geiger, like Becky Joyner, believes drug education should also come from parents, but teaching the latest drug trends, like about fentanyl, the drug up to 100 times more powerful than morphine, heads turn to the schools.
I feel like in that way the drug education is keeping up with the opioid epidemic.
I'd like to think that it is.
Officer Patrick Salvale says doctors he knows are good about telling families not to take more medicine than they're prescribed. He tells personal stories to teach Huntsville High School students in an elective class up to 8 times a year. Since these classes are elective, he doesn't reach every kid. 200 adolescents were treated for addiction last fiscal year at the Nova Youth and Family Center in Huntsville. Huntsville City and Madison County school officials turned down requests for interviews.
Well, it's got the fentanyl in it, so it doesn't even take any of the heart, and it kills them. It stops their heart, and that's why we've had so many overdose cases.
Since the opioid crisis began, the school resource officer at a Madison City school updated his PowerPoint for 5th graders to include fentanyl. In high school, things get more in depth.
Talking about life choices, making good decisions, and talking specifically about scenarios that students might find themselves in.
Principal Sylvia Lambert brings in speakers, and drug programs focus on building relationships between students and SROs. Some are for the parents.
As we build student leaders, and as those student leaders affect and impact other students within our school, we know that that's affecting our culture.
Possibly one future student leader.
We say shine bright, KK.
The opioid epidemic impacted Jalen's entire life. Her grandmother wants it to impact school curriculum more, so more children don't have to learn the way she did.
I know 2 other children that have lost their parents to drugs. They're not realizing how big of an epidemic it is.
In Madison County, Renata DiGregorio, WZDX News.
CDC research shows drug overdose deaths in teens ages 15 to 19 are mostly unintentional. In 2015, nearly 8,000 children overdosed.
And here in the Valley, a local man is turning his story of drug addiction into a passion for helping those facing similar struggles. His life is now an inspiration.
I was in jail. I was in isolation.
On a Friday morning, high school students at Madison Academy are packed into the bleachers to hear a story about life.
I came to this point that I needed God. So after the 3rd day, I started banging on my cell door saying, "Bring me a Bible. Bring me a Bible."
David Wilburn tells of his struggles with opioid abuse and the difficulties it placed on his life. He says he took his first opiate in high school after a minor injury at football practice. Not long after, he was introduced to OxyContin.
I was a junior in high school, and that changed everything for me.
Then, in his first semester at Alabama, David says he became addicted. He cleaned up his act to serve our country in the United States Marine Corps, but after his time was up, he says he went right back to the opiates.
It got worse. It got darker. My life at that point looked like, jail, rehabs, a little bit of sobriety, jail, rehab, a little bit of sobriety. I mean, it's the same old thing over and over again.
But that's not the end of the story. After living in his car for 4 months, strung out on heroin, David Wilburn found his way.
My first impression of his way was, when we rolled up, there was guys outside raking leaves and laughing and having a good time, and in my mind I'm sitting there thinking, like, this is a cult, And the reason I thought that is because there's no way you can rake leaves and have fun. There's no way. But no, they were just genuinely enjoying life.
David joined the program, and after a rocky start, he completed 1 year of rehabilitation and sober living in January of 2015. Now he's using that experience to help other people.
David is one of those, real
rays of light in that regard, showing that you can be a completely different person through the power of the gospel.
David now works on the staff at His Way, hoping to help other men change their story.
A lot of times people don't understand what a relationship with Jesus looks like.
His mission also extends beyond the campus. In 2017, David organized In Heroin HSV. And that effort had a huge impact here in the Tennessee Valley.
Now we fight it as Team Alexis.
Yes. We got to make change, and that's a big part of what we have to do. But I think the biggest way of doing that is for people who are in recovery to have a voice.
Thousands of people showed up to show their support in the fight against opiates.
A lot of times I would think, like, man, what if that event changed one person, like the trajectory of their life forever? And, you know, that's something that, you know, gets me excited because,
another chapter in a story of victory, hope, and inspiration.
If there's a person out there struggling right now, a family member who has a child that they don't know they don't know the outcome of it, you know, that if I can make it, you know, they can too, or you can too.
An inspiring story indeed. Still to come, opioids, a Valley addiction continues.
Next, we'll take a look at how healthcare workers here in the Valley are battling the deadly disease and why they say the epidemic is hurting us all.
Don't go through all of life's problems alone. If you are dealing with drug or alcohol addiction, PTSD, stress, depression, or just need direction in life, Luminous Counseling can help. Call 256-686-9195. There can be light again.
On Friday, April 6 and Saturday, April 7, meet Ruger's CEO, Chris Calloy, the leader of Ruger's record-breaking production of 1 million guns in 1 year. Only at both locations of Larry's Pistol and Pawn on North Parkway in Huntsville and at Exit 3 in Madison at the Big Rusty Water Tower.
Messages for the Spirit is having the greatest celebration in history, taking a stand for Jesus. Open mic for singers, testimonials, and musicians. All are welcome on March 31st. Call Messenger for locations and more info. Messages for the Spirit is having the greatest celebration in history, taking a stand for Jesus. Open mic for singers, testimonials, and musicians. All are welcome on March 31st. Call Messenger for locations and more info.
When you hear stories about addiction, they usually don't end well. It's the same old story that ends in jail, lives destroyed, or even death. But your story doesn't have to end that way. At Huntsville Recovery, we can help you rewrite your story by helping you find addiction treatment options that are right for you. Call 888-721-1940 or learn more online at huntsvillerecovery.com and find out how Huntsville Recovery can help you rewrite your story today.
Friday, April 6th starts the 15th annual Ruger Super Sale featuring thousands of Ruger handguns and rifles. All are red tag sale priced at both locations of Larry's Pistol and Pawn on North Parkway in Huntsville and in Madison, Exit 3 by the Big Rusty Water Tower.
Don't go through all of life's problems alone. If you are dealing with drug or alcohol addiction, PTSD, stress, depression, or just need direction in life, Luminous Counseling can help. Call 256-686-9195. There can be light again.
Welcome back. Healthcare workers here in the Tennessee Valley say our opioid epidemic is hurting us all.
And they're doing all they can to save lives, regardless of the toll it takes on theirs.
In the 21st century, healthcare workers are swamped with patients, pills, and paperwork. That's because of a terrifying epidemic claiming more lives than the Vietnam War.
It's a crying shame because a lot of these deaths are people that are young people who could have had potentially long, productive, happy lives.
Right now, we are at war with opioid abuse. The killer isn't immune to any gender, age, race, or socioeconomic status.
You can't stereotype who you think an addict is going to be because it touches too many people now.
But opiate addiction isn't just hurting patients. It's also hurting our healthcare workers.
They're fairly high maintenance.
We are already very full with just general medical patients.
So it puts a rippling effect on everyone, all taxpayers.
Dr. Squires tells me she's seen far too few success stories in the ER.
Many of them end up in jail. because jail is the last resource, and jail truly provides most of the rehab in this country, sadly.
Healthcare workers tell me there just aren't enough local resources. Decatur Morgan Hospital even had to launch an entirely new healthcare program. Workers now devote their entire work schedules to saving opiate-addicted patients.
We're kind of at the forefront, chiropractic, so we get to the root of the cause, we heal from a natural, holistic perspective, and we really try to decrease that pain, not only from a short-term perspective, but from a long-term.
Dr. Seth Underwood says preventative care is crucial. It can save money, time, and ultimately lives.
Yes, it may be a little bit cheaper to utilize some sort of medication, but at the same time, do you know the side effects and the risk of those medications?
Another solution is prescribing conservatively.
I think that's where we have failed. Patients think that they're not going to have any pain. Well, that's not true. You know, it's going to hurt. We are going to have to back off on prescribing.
We don't give them to people who come in and say, I've lost my prescription and I have chronic pain. We have to have very specific indications, and we prescribe limited numbers of medications.
As you can see, southern states have the highest painkiller prescription rates. Doctors tell me this further highlights the urgent need to better monitor dosage in our state.
It's one of the highest states rate of opioid pain medication being prescribed per person per year, which is an alarming rate, and it's something that we really need to reel back in and see exactly where we can do and help fight back against.
Another solution, offering thorough rehab programs.
It's not a one-stop shop where one kind fits everybody. You know, there are many types of rehab programs.
Berta Shaw says our healthcare system also needs to emphasize detoxification.
They may have insurance again, but they don't have substance abuse or mental health coverage, and so it leaves them as if they don't have any insurance.
Workers tell me this war is far from over, and they've got a lot of work ahead of them.
But it's going to be a hard-fought battle from the top all the way down.
But there is hope.
There's hope beyond addiction. There are people out there that are willing to help you, that want to help.
Dr. Squires urges all of you to watch a documentary called Chasing the Dragon.
To learn more, just visit our website at rocketcitynow.com. Coming up, opioids, a valley addiction continues.
See why some say it's impacting our justice system. Stay with us.
Don't go through all of life's problems alone. If you are dealing with drug or alcohol addiction, PTSD, stress, depression, or just need direction in life, Luminous Counseling can help. Call 256-686-9195. There can be light again.
McDonald's proudly introduces our new fresh beef Quarter Pounder burgers. They're cooked right when you order on our flat iron grill, so they're hot, full of flavor, and fantastically juicy. McDonald's new 100% fresh beef Quarter Pounder burgers. You'll need a bigger napkin.
It's the last weekend to go to the Rooms to Go 27th anniversary sale, because at 9 p.m. Tuesday, April 3rd, it's over. Hurry in and check out all the exceptional anniversary sale savings throughout the store. Living rooms, bedrooms, dining rooms, and more. And it's the last weekend to finance for 60 months starting at $5.99 with low interest-free monthly payments. So come on, it's go time. Shop the Rooms to Go 27th anniversary sale before it ends 9 p.m. Tuesday, April 3rd.
There's a moment in your bones when the fire takes over. We can be heroes everywhere we go. Keeping us down is impossible. We're unstoppable.
Life has a million trails. The Jeep Compass was built for all of them. Well-qualified lessees of competitive vehicles get a low-mileage lease on the 2018 Jeep Compass for $159 a month.
Hurry into JCPenney to get up to 50% off store-wide. Plus, reveal your mystery coupon inside the JCPenney chocolate bar for an extra 30% off, 40% off, or 50% off. This Friday and Saturday in-store only. JCPenney, style and value for all.
Don't go through all of life's problems alone. If you are dealing with drug or alcohol addiction, PTSD, stress, depression, or just need direction in life, Luminous Counseling can help. Call 256-686-9195. There can be light again.
Now, WZDX News Special Report. Opioids, a valley addiction, continues.
The opioid epidemic is having a direct impact on our justice system.
Here in the Tennessee Valley, it can take up to 18 months before any case goes before a judge. According to the Madison County District Attorney, many of those cases are drug-related.
I guarantee you, probably of all felony charges, I bet
a fourth to a third of our cases do involve drug offenses.
The numbers are staggering. 11.5 million people misused prescription opioids in 2016. 42,249 people died from overdosing in the same year. The economic impact was more than $500 billion.
Opioid and drug addiction.
During his State of the Union, President Donald Trump called on our legal system to crack down on opioid abusers.
We must get much tougher on drug dealers and pushers if we are going to succeed in stopping this scourge.
Michael Varketta is the case manager for His Way.
Some guys have, cases in 4 or 5 different counties. It could be felonies, could be civil cases, could be misdemeanors.
His Way is a Christ-based recovery program for men that are struggling with drug and alcohol addiction. To my right, you can see a construction zone as the facility expands to try to accommodate a growing waiting list. For many of these men, they are in the fight of their lives, and they're on the other side of the law.
Say you get a felony, for example, it will take at least 2 to 3 years for it to wrap its way through the court system.
So it's an emotional taxing thing, it's financially taxing, it's a burden on society.
Justin Paul Parker says he tried his first opiate at the age of 12. Since then, he can't tell you how many times he's been to the courtroom.
I've not kept count, purposefully I've not kept count. I know it's in the teens.
It really involves a lot of people's time, the judges, prosecutors, attorneys, defendants.
Meanwhile, Madison County District Attorney Rob Broussard says his office will continue to press down on opioid abuse, despite some flaws in the system.
The opioid epidemic is hitting real hard as a practical matter to society. And I think the justice system is lagging somewhat, but we're going to do something about it.
The opioid epidemic is also on the minds of our state legislators in Montgomery.
That's right. Governor Kay Ivey has also organized the Alabama Opioid Overdose and Addiction Council. The group recently released its recommendations to address this crisis. Coming up, Opioids, a Valley Addiction continues.
Up next, we'll take a look at local organizations that are here in the Valley set up to help people dealing with this crisis.
Don't go through all of life's problems alone. If you are dealing with drug or alcohol addiction, PTSD, stress, depression, or just need direction in life, Luminous Counseling can help. Call 256-686-9195. There can be light again.
Huge March savings event at American Freight. Don't wait. Take it home today with low, easy payments. Deluxe foam mattresses from only $118. Recliners from $198. 8-piece queen-size bedroom packages from $398. Sofa and Love Seat Plus accent chair only $398. Same-day delivery, free layaway ends March 31st. At American Freight in Huntsville at 2518 North Memorial Parkway, 1 mile north of University Drive. Phone 519-8555.
Hello, I'm Pastor Kevin McGlamry, the lead pastor at Life Church Huntsville, and I want to take this opportunity to invite you and your family to be our guests during our Easter celebration weekend. We begin on Good Friday at 6:30 p.m. and also on Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. We have something for the entire family. Check our website, lifechurchhuntsville.com, for additional information, and we look forward to seeing you at our brand new location here on the Parkway.
There are a lot of options when choosing an attorney. All you have to do is turn on the TV. At Wedemark Keith, we believe in doing things a little different than others. We believe in respecting our profession, dignity in advertising, and respect for our clients. We also know that our track record speaks for itself. If you've been hurt in a car wreck or on the job, let us put our experience to work for you.
Call Wedemark Keith because your case matters. WKFirm.com.
Don't go through all of life's problems alone. If you are dealing with drug or alcohol addiction, PTSD, stress, depression, or just need direction in life, Luminous Counseling can help. Call 256-686-9195. There can be light again.
Now, WZDX News Special Report. Opioids, a Valley Addiction continues.
The opioid epidemic is destroying families right here in our city.
Our Renata DiGregorio sat down with a local family fighting to recover from addiction.
This is Sage,
and he saved my life. If I didn't have Sage, I'd be dead by now, and I can honestly say that.
Opiates entered Elise Rose's life when she was 14, the beginning of what would lead to years of robbery, guns to her head, and jail.
I was very out of control, but when your mind's telling you you're going to die if you don't get this drug, then you'll do anything you have to do.
I was telling people she was not going to live, that I'd probably be planning her funeral.
Trapped in her addiction, with the fear of confronting past trauma, fear of withdrawal.
You feel like you're dying, so every time I went to rehab, I would have somebody pick me up from rehab with drugs, and I would be shooting up on the way out.
It was just shame. I didn't tell my husband or my son or anybody because I didn't want them to judge her, but you can't. I mean, you need support and you need the help.
For Elise, the help had to start with her. She never wanted to beat the addiction until one day everything changed.
January 10th, 2017, I found out I was pregnant.
Elise avoided becoming one of the 2 drug-related deaths reported every 10 days in Madison County. But recovering too is a fight.
You're fighting for your life every day.
Hempsey officials treated nearly 19 people a week for suspected opioid overdoses this year through September.
No matter what age range, no matter what race, no matter what religion, it's there. And it's a big problem in the Madison County.
Telly Lanier works with adolescents in recovery. He says slashing the number of people he sees means getting to them before the drugs.
Prevention, education for our children, for our young people, that is the main way that we can combat this problem. The more people know, the more they are aware, that the more they can stay away from it.
But staying away from it isn't always an option. Many innocently become addicts simply by filling their prescriptions. Doctors
writing prescriptions for opioids like candy.
At Huntsville Recovery, Cleet Wetley helps those who went in for help,
Look at their file.
whose addictions began at the doctor's office.
The Drug Enforcement Agency really needs to take a more active role in ensuring that pharmaceutical companies and their distributors aren't able to divert those drugs out onto the street.
He's our little blessing.
Now Jennifer Rose works with the group Not One More Alabama to advocate for awareness, education, policy. Not only did recovery save her daughter, it saved their relationship.
I'm just glad that I'm, healthy enough again to have her back in my life.
In Huntsville, Renata DiGregorio, WZDX News.
Elise believes 30-day programs aren't enough to recover mentally. At Huntsville Recovery, an expanded outpatient treatment program is now up and running.
We want to thank you for spending your time with us tonight, uncovering the opioid epidemic and its impact right here in the Tennessee Valley.
If you or anyone you know is suffering from addiction, there is help. Here's a list of some addiction recovery centers right here in the Tennessee Valley.
They include New Life Outreach International, Huntsville Recovery, NWE, New Horizons Recovery Center, and Alabama Recovery Center.
Also, to learn more on this special report or any of these stories we showed you tonight, just head on over to our website at rocketcitynow.com. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you have a great night.
Don't go through all of life's problems alone. If you are dealing with drug or alcohol addiction, PTSD, stress, depression, or just need direction in life, Luminous Counseling can help. Call 256-686-9195.